Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of ADMAIL. This is Adam Bergman, founder and CEO of IRA Financial. I'm here to help you find the answers to the most frequently asked questions from my clients about self-directed retirement accounts. If you want to learn more, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Just search IRA Financial. Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial, and welcome to another episode of ADMAIL. Today's episode, going to tackle three really important questions from three super smart individuals. I really like these questions. I think you guys are going to enjoy them. If you give me the next, 7 or 10 minutes, I will teach you everything you are going to need to know about these questions. And I think ultimately you'll learn a lot. So buckle up. And well, actually, here's a quick teaser of what these questions will address. The first is using a Roth IRA to buy founder shares. How do you actually value those shares? The second is if you're attending a conference to learn about an investment strategy for your self-directed IRA, can you use your IRA to pay for travel? And then thirdly, moving Roth 401k funds into a Roth Solo 401k. How does that work? So without further ado, let's buckle up and let's get started on today's ADMAIL. First question from Matt F. And I'm actually not going to use cities and states. I actually got a couple comments over the last few weeks saying, hey, like, I'm okay sending you my questions. It's by email. Like, why do you look up and care where I'm from? Just use my first name and my first letter of my last name. I don't need to have a city or state. And I said, you know what? I agree. I mean, I don't want to give emails because I don't want people to actually have people's email address. So I'm just using now going forward, first name and first letter of the last name. The people that submit it's actually not important. What is important is the questions. So don't worry, you have total privacy. So feel free to send in questions. I will not even disclose where you're from, just the first name and the first letter of your last name. So let's get started. After watching your videos, I want to use self-directed IRA to buy founder shares. How should I price the shares? So that's from Matt F. Good question, Matt. If it's founder shares, probably par value, generally not a fair market value, right? Private shares, not publicly traded, so you can't figure that out from a public trading stock standpoint. If it's a private company and just started, generally the value I would try to use par, whether it's 0.01, 0.001, whether it's 1 cent a share. Clearly, if you want to use your Roth to buy the founder shares, number one, you want to make sure you own less than 50%. Number two, you want to value those shares as low as possible, right? Because you want to capture that upside in the Roth. So most people in that case, including Peter Thiel, have used par, which is basically, the share price the company would buy those shares back, which I think is reasonable for founder shares. So Matt, thank you for that really good question. Second question is actually from YouTube, and this individual wants to know, I want to attend a conference on hard money investing for my self-directed IRA. Can I use my IRA to pay the event? So here's the answer. Generally, yeah. If you can show the IRS, if you ever get audited, that you attended that conference exclusively for the sole benefit of assisting your IRA from an investment strategy, I think it's okay. This is the problem. Well, it's not a problem. This is what you need to show. You need to show that obviously there's no personal benefit. You didn't take your spouse, your kids. You really are there solely for your IRA. The longer the conference, the harder it is to show that, right? Maybe did you go to a show or did you go to the beach, right? I mean, there's no monetary value in those types of activities, but you really want to show that, hey, I'm not using my IRA to any way personally benefit myself. So again, if this is a strategy that you're only going to use for IRA, this is not something you're going to do personally. This hard money lending is an IRA strategy, not something you want to do individually outside of the IRA, then I think it works. As long as the expense is reasonable, you're not taking a private jet there. You're not doing a stop off at Disney before you go to the event, or things like that. You really want to show, if you do ever get audited, which I think the chances are pretty slim to none, that this was done exclusively to benefit your IRA, and there was no personal benefit derived indirectly or directly from this event. So good question, actually. Third and final question of today's podcast from Robert M. Robert wants to know, some of my retired funds are in a Roth account. My current solo 401k that is pre-tax dollar contributions. I believe I would need a separate Roth under my solo K to handle the Roth funds. Is that correct? So yes, Robert. Number one, Roth IRA funds cannot be rolled into a 401k. So I assume in your question, you're talking about Roth 401k funds from a prior employer. If that's the case, then yes, you can roll Roth 401k funds into a Roth Solo K. Now, when I say a Roth Solo K, it's not like you have to set up a separate Solo K. If you already have a Solo K, our plan documents will build in a Roth component and a Roth option into the plan. That's just one of our default settings. So there's nothing to worry about. What I do suggest, Robert, is you have a separate bank account, so to speak, a sub account under the 401k. So if the 401k was, ABC 401k plan, it would have two bank accounts, one pre-tax, one Roth. Just from an accounting standpoint, much simpler, easier to account for. You could isolate the pre-tax and the Roth, don't have as much of a calculating adventure when deciding, the profits is allocated to the pre-tax, these profits are allocated to the Roth. It's just much simpler. And I think it's just helpful. There's no cost to open a bank account. If you work with IRA Financial, we'll open something at Capital One. There's no minimum balance. So there's no reason not to have it. Just do it because it's going to make your life a lot easier. But again, Roth IRA funds cannot go into a 401k. Roth 401k funds could. You technically could put them all in one account. There's no rule that you need segregated accounts for pre-tax or Roth like an IRA. But I personally believe from a simplicity standpoint, especially when it comes to accounting, separate bank accounts is the way to go. So thank you, Robert. Thank you to the individual from YouTube. Thank you, Matt. Everyone enjoyed today's podcast. I did. I thought it was really well-rounded questions. Just to recap, founder shares, you can do in a Roth on less than 50%. I would use par value. Second, if you're going to attend a conference involving some investment strategy or something involving investing or retirement, make sure you're doing this to exclusively benefit your IRA. So, for example, IRA Financial, like we are thinking of doing a client conference, that would be something that you could use your IRA funds to pay for because it's only IRA content, right? We're not going to talk about anything other than IRA content strategies. And then thirdly, if you're moving a Roth to a 401k, can't be a Roth IRA and it has to be a Roth 401k or 403. And then make sure, I think you should have separate bank accounts for your pre-tax or Roth. I don't think it costs anything, and that's the way I would do it. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you did, please, if you can give us a good review or just some type of rating, that would be helpful to kind of boost the podcast and more people get to see it and enjoy it. If you're watching on YouTube, much appreciated. You should definitely subscribe if you haven't. I think there's some great content on the feed. I do my best to keep the content as fresh and updated and as fun as possible. So if you do enjoy it, I would appreciate you subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. It'd be crazy not to. But either way, thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and I'll see everyone again next week. Ciao.